Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Or if you haven't been before, welcome. Thanks for visiting. Please subscribe while you're here. It means the world. The nature of today's video is completely spontaneous. Off the back of Boris Johnson's speech. You literally breathe in confidence and you breathe out fear. There's a few pointers I'd like to give you just from things that I've personally learned to be helping me. Replace social media scrolling with a much more positive habit. Now for me, I've started reading more because I am a very proactive person anyway, and I like to listen to podcasts and things. Reading isn't usually my forte because I'm a slow reader. My OCD means I read over and over the words when I don't particularly want to and just have to, and it slows me down. So I like to be proactive, so I've now been getting my highlighter, and instead of just doing it as and when I feel like it, I have committed to doing it every single day. And honestly, I've been slotting it in at those times where I felt like I was going to end up scrolling on social media, because no matter when I scroll on social media, I always get this vibe and it lowers my vibrations. And in order to attract more positivity into your life, you have to raise your vibrations to be positive. And in order to do that, you need to replace negative habits with more positive habits that are going to make you feel better. It might seem hard to begin with, but honestly, once you do it, you will thank yourself so much. I can't tell you how much. Once you start to acknowledge that scrolling on social media, looking at what everybody else is doing, is a very, very detrimental habit, you will love the feeling of picking up a book and reading, or going outside and exercising, or simply just talking to someone on FaceTime instead. It's difficult not to compare yourself when you're scrolling through social media, and it might have that vibe again where you feel like you have to be achieving something. You feel like you have to come up with a new hobby, or you have to have a new side hustle. And honestly, I understand that people might get that vibe from me, but I don't ever want you to feel like that. Like, I am just personally that way inclined. Those things are things that I enjoy. I judge myself for being the way I am because I'm an absolute freak. You just need to take time away from it. I know it's easier said than done, but the more we sit and compare, the less time we're actually using of our own, the less we're actually doing with our lives. We're just sat comparing and sat mulling ourselves into depression. And that's literally the last thing that we want to do in a time of crisis. We want to introduce more positive habits for ourselves. Moving on to my second point. Something I really highly encourage everybody to do is to meditate. And I know most people might not understand meditation, and you might have that initial judgment of it, that it's something that it isn't. But meditation literally teaches the brain to slow down. It teaches you not to cling on to emotions. It teaches you to think with your brain rather than with your emotions. You feel the emotion and then you don't react to it. Your brain acknowledges the emotion, but then it lets it go, and you're able to then act in a much more positive light. Now, imagine a busy street of rushing cars, and then imagine just cars slowly passing like this down the road. It's easier to think when you're just following a car down the road, right? Yeah. So it's just a case of slowing the mind down and being present in the moment, and also acknowledging your own personal feelings and actually just being with yourself for that time. Because even though you might be locked in your room on your own, you might then scroll through social media and feel as though the world's moving so fast and maybe even leaving you behind. And it's not. The world isn't going anywhere. Not right now anyway. You've got so much to give, and honestly, introducing positive habits such as meditation will allow you to see that. It's not a case of meditate because it's going to make you a better person. It's not a case of meditate and because I meditate I'm better than you. It's not that. Meditation is Meditation is prescribed for mental health now. Doctors actually prescribe meditation. So please, if you're in a bad place, meditate. Replace scrolling social media with a more positive habit. Please drink lots of water. I know it sounds daft and I know it sounds like I'm reminding you to breathe, but drink water. It helps with being alert, it helps with being awake, it helps with raising your energy, it helps with raising your vibrations, and again, making you feel like a healthier being. It actually allows you to think straight rather than to become agitated. So drink lots of water, meditate, and replace scrolling social media with a more positive habit. My fourth point is simply to reach out, simply to not be on your own while you're isolating. Please, please don't ever feel like you're on your own. I know you might have heard the saying, we're all in the same boat, but that's not strictly speaking true. We're all riding the same wave, but we're all in different boats. So what that means is we're all going through this together, but our experiences of it and the ways we cope with it are going to be so different from the next person. There is no rule book to this. It's just a case of going with what makes you feel best. What makes somebody else feel better won't necessarily make you feel better. Tune in with yourself. Please tune in with yourself. Write to yourself. Talk to yourself, for goodness sake. Honestly, the most intelligent people in the world talk to themselves. That's not me just telling myself that. My fifth and final point is no matter how slow you go, just keep going. Whether that means slowing down to complete snail's pace and even resting. Don't go backwards. Let's go forwards. There's so much to live for, and I know this sounds so deep and so emotional. It's honestly coming from my heart. Like, I feel almost a responsibility to put this out there because I learned so much from the first pandemic. I learned to calm, I learned peace, I learned how to keep myself in a much more zen mode, and I want to share that because honestly it's so healthy for you. I know you might have previously looked at me as a fitness fanatic, but in recent years I've been taught how important health is, and I just want to share that with you. And health doesn't just mean mental health, it doesn't just mean physical health, it doesn't just mean social health, it means all of it. You have to have balance throughout your life, and the problem here is that we're being deprived of the social health. So we really need to take care of it in ways that aren't social media. Because don't get me wrong, you can do your social media, post on your social media, engage on social media, but just don't overdo it. Don't do it to the point where you feel negative, because social media is not reality. Social media is other people's highlight reels. It's not the nasty, it's not the dark, and it's so easy to compare, and realistically you're probably comparing yourself to a false reality. More often than not, comparing yourself to a false reality. If you need someone, call someone, text someone. Don't be alone. I'm not the best at replying, but if people reach out to me, I will do my best to try and reply to as many of you as I can, or point you in the direction of someone to talk to, or even just give you a one message reply with some top tips in response to whatever it is you've said to me. Please just don't be alone, because it's probably the worst thing you can do right now, but also the best. I know it sounds quite contradictory, but you have to be in tune with your own thoughts and your own feelings and not compare yourself to others' thoughts and others' feelings, because what makes someone else feel good doesn't necessarily make you feel good. What makes you feel good doesn't necessarily make someone else feel good. So just surround yourself with activities, habits, and people who have a positive influence on your life. And if you can't acknowledge the positives and the negatives, write to yourself in your notes, on a piece of paper, talk to yourself in the mirror, record yourself, figure it out, because honestly, your heart will tell you, your gut will tell you. You will be able to get that vibe. Whether it's a good vibe or it's a bad vibe, listen to it, because the vibe is always right. Always. On that note, I'm going to love you and leave you. Please remember that I believe in you and you are capable of getting through this. You're capable of achieving big things, and I believe in you to keep going. So don't let me down. See you soon, and please don't forget to subscribe. It really does mean the world to me. Even just one subscriber, really, I notice every single one of you, and it means so much to me. See you soon.